Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Randy with your weekly cybersecurity tip. And today I want to talk to you about your weakest link in your cybersecurity chain. And you may already know it, or you may not. I would say about half the people guess it when I ask them. But the weakest link in your chain is people. Yep, people are the weakest link in the cybersecurity chain. And the fact is probably 90% of all cyber crime, all cyber attacks start out with a human error of some point. Whether that is somebody clicking on a phishing email, which is an email trying to get in and get some of your stuff, or whether that's somebody downloading something they shouldn't, downloading an app on the App Store that looks sketchy, but they were in a hurry and they just decided to just risk it, or whatever the reason. So if we can take care of or fix that weakest link, then we can really make a big difference in our overall cyber security. Like the whole profile, the whole exposure part, we can actually take care of that by fixing that weakest link. If you guys are watching this live, I want to encourage you, if you have a question or a comment, go ahead and put it below the live video. Should show up in my software. If it doesn't, I'll go back later and answer it as I see them live. So let's talk about this thing about the people being the weakest link. There's several reasons why people are. Some of them might be, kind of obvious, but some of those reasons, people are emotional, and sometimes maybe we know better, but we're upset or we're sad or something like that, and we just don't feel like paying attention. And so people will do things because of those emotions that they wouldn't normally do, and that could involve clicking on a link or downloading something that ends up infecting the computer, ends up causing a compromise in your network, could lead to a breach. A few other things: people are impatient. I would probably say this one particular is one of the top reasons, if not the top reason. It's definitely tied for the top. I consistently am talking with CEOs, especially about the security stuff. Now, I understand there's a balance between your getting stuff done and security, because you've got to have, you can't have so much security you can't get anything done. If you don't have any security, you're dead in the water. So I know there's a balance between that, but so many people are just too impatient. They might have 5,000 unread emails in their email box, and it does take a second or two if you hover over a link, to see if it's legit or not that's in your email. It takes a second or two for it to pop up. Frankly, some people are just too impatient, and they don't really want to deal with that. So that's a big deal, and that's one of the things that makes people a security risk. Sometimes people are not aware of the issue, and sometimes kind of related, people didn't know there was an issue. If you're one of those people, let me tell you right now, cyber crime, cyber attacks is a huge issue. Last year, there was a growth of about 600% in cyber crime, known cyber crime. And actually, being a cyber criminal is actually a high growth career right now. So if you didn't know, now you know. Now you're caught up. Watching for attacks, watching for things going on is a big deal. And we have to do that. We have to be aware of what's going on. But then kind of the flip side of that is, maybe they knew it was going on, and maybe they either they weren't aware, or they didn't know how. Just in the last couple of weeks, I walked a very successful business person through how on an email, how do you tell if it's legit? By taking your mouse and mousing over certain things, and by looking at the, who the email came from. And, you can't be 100% sure, but you can be 99% sure. You can also be 100% sure that it's not legit by doing those things. And sometimes people just aren't aware, and so they don't know what they need to do. Another thing Okay, so this one might hit close to home for some people, but sometimes people are just too prideful. And, they're too prideful. They don't want to admit that they could be hacked. They don't want to admit that, it could be a criminal or a nation state or whatever. And for whatever reason, they have pride and they just don't want to admit that it could happen to them. But the reality is, it's not really a matter of, if you're going to be hit by a cybercrime, but when, because the attacks are on the rise. They're becoming a part of everyday life. I read a statistic recently that there's close to 200,000 cyber attacks every day, which is insane. And it's just something that is everywhere. And so you don't want to be so prideful. It's okay to take pride in your work and all that kind of stuff, but you don't want to be so prideful that you can't learn something new, the old dog, a new trick kind of thing. And you don't want to be too prideful not to do that. You don't want to be too prideful to admit that, you could be attacked. And, it shouldn't hurt your pride to go and learn something. There's probably no one that's watching, but just in case, to go learn something totally new or even mimic what someone else is doing, because they already figured it out. So why not go for it? So those are kind of the main reasons why people are the weakest link. And before I wrap up, I just want to talk about, so what are some things you can do to basically take that weakest link and fix it? I'll be honest, the first thing we do when we take over when we take on a new cybersecurity client, that's the first thing we've got to do is start to deal with the people, well-meaning people, and some of them know technology, some of them love technology, some of them hate technology, some of them don't know anything about technology, but take that weakest link and fix it. That's one of the first things that we do. So what are some things that you can do to fix that weakest link? So it really is going to boil down with people. It's going to boil down to training. And there's several types of training that we do. We do a straight up with our clients. We do a straight up security training. And there's a test involved. There's videos to watch. If you already know a ton of stuff, the training might take 10 minutes. And if you are a straight up beginner, you don't know anything, it might take you an hour, or it might take you an hour or two. But that training is crucial, because what it does is it raises awareness in people to start looking for stuff. Now, they have this thing in two-stepping. So I'm going to bring up two-stepping. I'm from Texas, obviously, and almost everybody in Texas knows how to two-step. And so the people that are the easiest to two-step with are the people who are beginners and the people that are experts. The people that are hardest to two-step with are the people that think they know what they're doing, but they really don't. And so sometimes, like in Sandler training, they call that the dummy curve, how you go from a beginner, you kind of actually go down as you get more knowledge, and then you kind of come around that curve, and then you come up to be an expert. So with this training, and I'm not calling anybody a dummy, but with this training, the idea is to take you from over here or down here and start bringing you on the other side of that curve, where your knowledge works for you and your knowledge helps you be less likely to be attacked. So the security training is huge. The awareness training, which is involved with security training, is huge. And then the other training that we focus on is phishing training. Now, the statistic is that about 70% or more of all cyber breaches happen because somebody clicked on a link in an email, and that's called phishing. They'll send an email. They're looking either for credentials. They're trying to get you to log into something, download something, but it's called phishing with a PH. But imagine someone fishing with poles. They've got a bunch of poles out in the water, eventually one of them is going to get a fish is going to strike on one of them. And that's the whole idea with a phishing email. They might send it out to hundreds or thousands or millions or even billions of people whose credentials have already been leaked, and so they're available out there. But the idea is, though, they send out this email to so many people, and eventually somebody is going to bite. And so a crucial part of making people aware, and a crucial part of making it where people aren't such a liability, is phishing training. And that's where you send an email that looks like a phishing email. And then when they click on it, it either says, you were phished, you need to watch this video or take this training, or call your training/security officer, send them an email right now. But basically, rather than having a negative, something happen negative because of it, it actually has something positive, because rather than clicking and then that starts a process of the entire network being compromised, it takes you to a place where you're made aware that you clicked on something. And then also the security officer is made aware that you clicked on something, and they might recommend that you watch some more videos so next time you won't click. And I'll give an example in our own company of how effective phishing training really is, because we started phishing training about a year ago, and the first time that we tried it, 2 or 3 people clicked on those links. And the one we sent out actually had a link that said, you were phished. It had our logo, and then it had a little video, and it said, watch this video to basically, remediate for, your error click, if you will. And it started with that. And then over the course of the last year, our employees at our company, so we have tech and we have creative people also. So they're not necessarily, always thinking about security like I am, or maybe a technician is. But over the course of the year, it's brought the entire company up to a water level where just this past week, someone got a phishing email. They actually took a screenshot and put it in our company chat. And then, we all kind of made fun of it. But it actually we didn't actually make fun of it, because it actually was a really good phishing email. It was very believable. But with that training, that employee was able to see it, spot it, and then call it out, and then warn everybody else in the company. And that's exactly how it's supposed to happen. You've got to remember that one well-meaning employee, there could be an employee that's all about your mission, that's all about, the company, that's there till death do you part. One well-meaning employee could click on a phishing link and cause a breach for the entire company. And that's somebody who's trying hard, and the training helps bring that up. So I just had a question. How can you tell if you've clicked on a phishing link? Are there any telltale signs? That is such a great question, because if you've been trained, if you're aware, if you're looking for it, you still might accidentally click on one. I would say the biggest telltale sign, and I have to take a step back, always use a password keeper, okay? Because the password keeper is only going to offer up credentials for a specific URL. And so here's the telltale sign. You click to go sign in, to your FedEx account. So this amazing package that can't be delivered, can be delivered. And you go to sign into your FedEx account, and all of a sudden your password keeper doesn't offer up your username and password for this particular URL. That is a telltale sign. Sorry, that's a tongue twister for me. But that's a telltale sign. When your password keeper doesn't offer up the credentials, then something's wrong. You're not really on FedEx.com. You're on FedEx.C0M or something like that. So that, I would say, that's the number one telltale sign. The other thing would be, like, if you click on something and it goes to a blank page that doesn't load, or it just doesn't seem right, it gets real sluggish, because your antivirus, that if you have good security software on your computer and in your network, both antivirus and threat hunting software, and then DNS, and then stuff that's working with your router to look up DNS as you click on it. That's basically translating the click to an IP address. And if that's a bad IP address and you click on it, then you're going to get like a swirly, or it might say, you might even get a 404 if you have really good software in place and really good practices in place. If you're on a Mac, you might get the pinwheel of death, which is their little, or the beach ball of death, which is very funny. It reminds me, one time I took my MacBook to the Apple store to have a genius look at it. And he said, so Randy, what are your symptoms? And I said, well, I'm getting the pinwheel of death when I do this, or maybe the beach ball of death when I do this. And I said, I don't know what you guys call it around here. And he said, well, first off, we don't call anything around here of death, which I thought was kind of funny. But you know what I'm talking about? It's the little swirly, the little pinwheel, the little beach ball of death. I mean, there's a lot of little terms for it. But if you click on a link and you get that, then most likely, or very highly likely, it could be a phishing link. So great question. The other sign would be if you clicked on it and then all of a sudden it popped up to a screen that said your computer's infected, or, we want money from you or something like that. It doesn't usually happen like that, though. That's the scary thing, is it doesn't usually happen right away. So typically the compromise happens and then they get into your network. They start building up basically a portfolio or a profile of your network. And then they set a launch day. And on launch day is when they lock down everything and encrypt things and stuff like that. So most likely it's not going to pop up, hey, it's bad. But those are a few telltale signs. Great question. So once again, just to wrap it up, if there's no more questions, just to wrap it up, your people are going to be your weakest link, and a lot of reasons for that. And the best way to overcome that is with training, security training, awareness training, phishing training, anything that you can basically do to help them be more aware and alert is going to benefit them, benefit your company, and everybody involved. Well, guys, I appreciate everybody tuning in today to my weekly cybersecurity tip. I am here pretty much every single Tuesday, right around noon, and look forward to seeing y'all next time. And if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you like these videos. And well, actually, if you like the videos, hit the thumbs up. If you love, go ahead and sub to the channel. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and y'all have a great rest of your day. Thanks.